Welcome back, dreamer. Tonight, we drift once more into the quiet space between thought and sleep, where your body softens, your spirit listens, and your astral path begins to open. In this moment, sleep is more than rest. It is an astral passage beyond the veil. Before we travel further, feel free to like the video and subscribe for future astral sleep journeys. Which world would you like to visit next in your astral journey? Tell me in the comments below. Tonight's journey will carry you through soft and sacred spaces. First, we will gently pass through the astral veil. Then, deeper into the forest, we'll hear the voices of the whispering trees. Later, we will reach the pool of memories, where past and dream merge. And finally, we'll find stillness in the garden of gentle crystals. So close your eyes and let the journey begin. Your body rests. The bed beneath you cradles your form like a cloud made of breath. Each inhale fills you with softness. Each exhale releases the weight of the day. The space around you begins to dissolve. Familiar shapes blur. Sounds fade like echoes pulled into sleep. Your room melts away, becoming nothing more than a faint memory. In this quiet, you begin to feel the shift. It starts just beneath your chest. A soft stirring, like something within you stretching, ready to rise. Your astral self listens. It has always been here, waiting, patient. Now, it begins to awaken. A gentle hum surrounds you, not loud, not musical, but resonant, like your spirit is tuning into an ancient frequency, the frequency of the astral. With every breath, you slip further from the physical world. Not with force, not with fear, but with trust. Sleep is not just rest now. It is movement, a crossing, a passageway opening quietly beneath your awareness. You begin to float, weightless, yet grounded in peace. There is no effort, no struggle, only surrender. And ahead of you, there is mist. A soft silver haze pulsing with faint light. This is the veil, the boundary between the waking and the astral. It does not block you. It welcomes you, invites you to pass through gently, with intention. As you drift forward, the air cools slightly. Your breath slows. Your body feels even heavier now, but your spirit, it feels light, so light. You are entering the astral realm, and with each moment, the call of the sleep world grows louder. But this is not ordinary sleep. This is astral sleep, where you travel without movement, where your soul remembers how to fly. You do not need to try. You are already on your way. Every cell, every thought, every shimmer of your inner being is in motion. Let go now. Let your thoughts dissolve into stars. Let your breath carry you like wind across a still lake. The veil grows thinner, and just on the other side, the first lights of the crystal forest begin to flicker. You are safe. You are calm. You are ready, and the forest is waiting. You continue to drift deeper into this sleep, deeper into the astral. There is no turning back now, and no need to. Everything behind you fades like mist in morning light. Ahead of you, the veil shimmers. It is not a wall, but a curtain of silver breath. It ripples softly, responding to your presence, not with sound, but with feeling. As you approach, the air thickens, but it is not heavy. It is warm, like memory, like dreams just before waking. You pause, not out of hesitation, but out of reverence. This is the threshold, the crossing point between the sleep world and the astral realm. The veil hums gently. You feel it in your bones, a low vibration that whispers through your spirit. It is ancient. It knows the journeys of many before you, and now it welcomes you into its fold. You reach out, not with your hands, but with your breath, your intention, and the veil parts, like silk caught in a slow wind. As you pass through, you feel a shift. Your body becomes weightless, almost forgotten. Your astral form moves forward, free, quiet, timeless. The colors on the other side are different. Soft violets, deep blues, golds that glow without source. Light here is not from a sun. It is from thought, from presence. You float gently through this strange new sky. No ground beneath you, only energy, only space. You are no longer in sleep. You are within astral sleep, a state between being and beyond, a sacred in-between where everything expands. You begin to sense something, a presence, distant yet familiar. The forest is close. Its heartbeat echoes like a drum far below. You descend slowly, not falling, but settling, guided by the astral current flowing all around you. Below, shapes begin to take form, tall silhouettes of crystal trees, paths that glow with a gentle hum, and a stillness that feels alive. The veil is now behind you, and you are fully immersed in the astral. There is no time here, only unfolding, only drifting, only presence. You are not alone. The forest has felt you arrive, and it is listening, watching, waiting. Breathe softly. Let the sleep continue to deepen. Let the astral flow carry you forward. The journey has just begun. You drift lower. The stillness around you is deep, soft, like velvet drawn across the edges of your thoughts. Your astral form begins to settle, not on the ground, but into the rhythm of this new place. The energy here doesn't push or pull. It simply welcomes. Ahead, a faint light appears, small at first, barely more than a glimmer, but it pulses gently, like the breath of a distant star. You move toward it, slowly, drawn by curiosity, not urgency. Every motion is quiet, effortless. The path beneath you begins to shimmer, not with brightness, but with presence. Each step you take feels soft, but sure, like walking on memory. As you approach the light, it grows slightly, not in size, but in clarity. It's not just a glow. It has form and warmth. It is alive. The space around it changes. The air is tinged with color. Subtle shades of amethyst and rose gold swirl around your vision. They do not blur your sight. They invite your spirit to see more. You pause for a moment, letting the light wash over you. It feels familiar, though you've never seen it before, like a dream you once forgot. Returning gently to your sleep, the forest is still, but within that stillness you feel watched, not with eyes but with presence. Something ancient is aware of you now, and it approves. The glimmer pulses again, and for a brief second you see more reflections, flashes of places, moments, not quite yours, but somehow connected. You are in the early heart of the forest now, where the first memories gather, where the astral dream begins to take shape. You breathe in slowly. Let the light fill you, not your lungs, but your being. This is the first gift of the crystal forest. Not knowledge, not answers, but resonance. The light dims slightly, as if it has shared what it needed to share. And now it guides you forward, deeper into the mystery. Sleep continues to hold your body gently, while your astral self walks freely beneath skies that remember. You take one last look at the glimmer and follow its faint trail into the soft shadows beyond. You drift lower still. The astral air around you grows thicker with presence, not weight, but texture, like stepping through layers of memory suspended in starlight. Your sleep-deepened body lies far behind now, but your astral self is fully present, alert, yet at peace, awake, but only in the quietest sense of the word. The shimmering mists begin to thin, and below you, something begins to form, not sharp lines, but soft, glowing shapes, shifting slowly, welcoming you with a rhythm that pulses gently beneath the surface of everything. The ground comes into focus, not dirt, not stone, but a living floor of luminous crystal, smooth like glass, yet pulsing faintly like a heartbeat beneath your feet. You descend with grace, your spirit landing not with impact, but like a leaf settling on a quiet pond. You are standing now, or rather, you are grounded, held by the forest's gentle energy, its silence, its softness, its memory. The trees around you stretch tall into the indigo sky, each trunk like a column of frozen moonlight, not white, not silver, but translucent, humming with the faintest glimmer of color from within. Their branches arc gracefully, high above you, interwoven like a canopy of light and breath, and their leaves, they barely move, yet shimmer with every shift in your awareness. There is no wind, and yet everything feels in motion, subtle, internal, sacred. You take your first true step upon the forest floor, and the moment your astral foot touches the glowing path, a soft tone echoes through the space, not loud, not startling, just acknowledgement. The crystals respond to your presence, not by changing color, but by remembering, as if they've known you before, as if your soul's imprint was here long before your arrival. You walk slowly, reverently, letting your senses adjust to the layered silence, a silence not empty, but full of stories. Around you the forest breathes, not in gasps, but in waves. Energy moves through the roots, through the branches, through the very air between the trees, and it moves through you too. You pause by one of the great trees. Its bark, if you can call it that, seems like frozen rain, and within its core, you glimpse shapes, faint images, figures suspended in light, not threatening, not defined, just there, as if each tree holds dreams that never found their way into the waking world. You place your hand near its surface, not to touch but to listen, and in return, the tree hums, a deep, warm resonance that stirs the air around your chest, a reminder that you are seen here, that the forest knows you've arrived. You continue walking, the path beneath your feet glowing faintly with each step. Crystals hum beneath you, trees shimmer above you, and the space between holds you like a secret. You are no longer entering the forest. You are within it. You are part of it, and it is part of you. This is not a place of action, but of being, of remembering the parts of yourself that sleep has forgotten, and that the astral world is gently bringing back into the light. Somewhere ahead you sense something calling, not with urgency, but with invitation, a glow, a voice, a vibration your soul recognizes. But for now, you stand still, letting the forest settle into you. As you settle into it, sleep is deep now, astral currents are steady, and the journey has truly begun. You step softly into the deeper parts of the forest. The path beneath you narrows, and the light becomes more delicate, filtered through layers of crystal leaves that sway. Even without wind, the air here feels thicker, not heavy, but charged, like every breath you take carries memory, a memory that doesn't belong to just you. You begin to notice the trees here are different. They're taller, thinner at the base, then flaring out into wide, spiraling canopies above. Their trunks are etched with glowing lines that shimmer faintly as you pass, and between their twisting branches, threads of pale light drift like strands of forgotten dreams. You pause, listening. There is a sound, but it isn't music. It isn't language. It's a pattern, a delicate, rhythmic sequence of whispers. The trees are speaking, not in words you recognize, but in vibrations, emotions, waves of meaning that ripple gently through the astral air. They speak to one another, slowly, patiently, in a tongue older than time. And somehow, they speak to you too. You don't understand the words, but you feel them. And feeling is more than enough here. A tree on your left leans in slightly as you pass. Its trunk emits a soft pulse. You sense it watching you, not with eyes, but with presence. And then you hear it, a voice, soft and layered, not male, not female, just ancient. Welcome, sleeper of stars, child of breath. You walk where silence remembers. The voice is not heard, it is received directly into your astral self. You breathe in, and when you exhale, the forest exhales with you. You walk forward again, and now the path shifts. The trees begin to move slightly, not shaking, but adjusting, as if making space, as if acknowledging that you are no longer a guest, but part of the conversation. You notice clusters of crystal leaves vibrating gently in patterns. Some glow bright, others flicker. You realize these are not just trees. They are communicators, living archives of thought and dream. And now, they are whispering your presence into their long memory. You stop at one particularly old tree, its trunk wide and dark, with veins of soft blue light pulsing slowly through it. You reach out, not with your hand, but with your intention, and suddenly you feel a rush, like water pouring into your chest. Visions begin to flicker behind your eyes, children playing beneath these branches. Long ago in some astral age, wanderers sitting in silent meditation at the tree's base. Even fragments of yourself, not from this life, but from another. The forest knows you, not your name, but your essence. You sit now beneath one of the trees, and for a moment, you do nothing, and you listen, not with ears, but with spirit. You do not need to respond. Your presence is enough, and in this silence, you understand something you cannot name, and that is the beginning of true knowing. The whispers fade, not because they've ended, but because you have been given what you came to receive. The trees sway slightly as you move past them, as if bowing in silent farewell. You are not the same as when you arrived, and the forest remembers you now. The path glows ahead, leading toward the next space. The journey continues. You take your first step into a new clearing, and what lies beneath your astral feet takes your breath away. The forest floor here is no longer made of smooth crystal paths. Instead, it's covered in delicate overlapping petals. But these are not petals from any earthly flower. They're formed from thin slices of translucent crystal. Each one shimmers in its own hue. Soft lavenders blend into icy blues. Dusky rose meets golden amber. And when you move, the light beneath shifts and dances, like moonlight playing on water, except the water is solid, and the moonlight is coming from within the ground itself. You step again, and a soft tone rings out beneath you. A high bell-like note, gentle, pure, resonant. It doesn't echo in the air. It echoes inside you. Every step you take plays a slightly different sound, not random, but musical, as if you are walking across a living instrument, a symphony woven into the forest floor. You pause to look more closely. You kneel down, and for a moment, the world becomes very still. The petals are smooth to the touch, but warm, as if they've absorbed sunlight that doesn't exist in this realm. You trace the edge of one with your fingers. It glows a soft peach color, deepening toward its center. Within it, you see faint shapes, not reflections, but memories. A hand reaching for another, a child laughing beneath a tree of light, a tear falling upward and vanishing into air. These are not your memories, yet they feel familiar, like echoes from dreams you forgot too soon after waking. The petals shift slightly as you stand, and they arrange themselves with every movement you make, not randomly, but as if responding to your presence, aligning with your energy. This path is not just a trail, it is a mirror of your soul, your intention, your sleep, and in this astral dream state, the ground itself becomes your reflection. Far ahead, the petals glow a little brighter, a soft arc of warm golds and rich amethysts curve into the distance, inviting you forward. But just before you walk, you look up. Around you, tiny motes of light have begun to float in the air. Like fireflies made of stardust, they drift slowly between the trees, falling, rising, circling, and with them, a scent reaches you, impossible to name, but it reminds you of peace, of ancient forests, of sleep without fear. You take another step, and the petal beneath you glows coral pink. A low note sings out like a cello made of breath, and then another step, sapphire blue, a soft, chime-like tone, high and pure. The path becomes music, the music becomes memory, and memory becomes direction. You're not just walking now, you're playing your way through this world, a lullaby written with light. Your astral form is fully attuned now. You've left the heaviness of thought behind. Sleep holds your body far away, but here you are fluid, present, whole. The petals begin to grow smaller, closer together, and you sense that this place is leading you somewhere deeper. A soft glow begins to rise in the distance, warmer, more golden, more alive, as if something awaits beyond this crystal path, something that knows your name. Even if you do not, you take one final step, and the petal beneath you hums with a sound that lingers. It doesn't fade, it follows you as you begin to leave the path of crystal petals and move into the light ahead. You leave the path of petals behind you, and as you walk forward, the air thickens with warmth, not heat, but emotion. It's as if the light ahead carries not just illumination, but memory. The glow is not harsh, not blinding. It is soft, like candlelight wrapped in silk, golden in its center, fading to peach, then violet. As it touches the edges of the trees, it hovers in the distance, not high, not low, just suspended, waiting. You walk toward it slowly, and with every step, the world around you quiets further. Even your breath feels more delicate, more sacred. The forest here grows sparse. The crystal trees are set further apart. Their trunks curve inward slightly, as if leaning in toward the glow. Their branches form soft arches overhead, like a natural cathedral made of light and shadow. As you near the glow, you notice the ground changes again. Gone are the petals. Now the floor beneath you is smooth, polished, like translucent amber. And within the floor, you begin to see shapes, not reflections, but silhouettes, figures moving, slowly, gracefully. Like memories caught in a golden river, they flow beneath your feet, not toward any place, but simply in motion, as if memory itself is alive here. You pause, let the glow wash over your astral form. It doesn't just light your skin, it touches your spirit. It enters gently, like warmth filling a hollow space you didn't know was empty. You close your eyes, and something stirs within you, a feeling not from this journey, but from long before. A moment of wonder, a moment of grief, a moment of awe. You do not need to name it, you only need to feel it. The glow pulses once, then again, slower, and as it pulses, you feel something awaken inside you, not loudly, but deeply. There is a presence here, soft, ancient, kind. It has no form, but you know it's aware of you. It whispers to you, not in words, but in impressions, like ripples moving across the surface of your being. You have come far, but not far enough to know why you've come. You don't respond. You only breathe, and the presence continues to wrap around you. Like sunlight you can feel but never touch. Sleep holds your body gently back in the waking world. But here, in this astral space, you are more awake than ever. The glow fades slightly, and in its place, a path reveals itself. A thin, winding walkway of golden crystal. It curves through the trees, deeper into the forest, and at its end, a soft silver shimmer, a new threshold, another secret, another layer of dream. You turn one last time to the fading glow, and silently, it acknowledges you, not with voice, but with stillness, and then you move forward. The golden path beneath your feet begins to fade, not disappear, but melt into something smoother, quieter. A soft fog curls low along the ground, like silver breath sliding between the trees. You follow it, not because you must, but because something inside you wants to remember. And then, through the thinning mist, you see it, still, wide, glowing faintly beneath a canopy of gently shifting leaves. A pool, but unlike any you've ever known, the water is not clear. It is dark, like deep sapphire, with faint currents of gold and violet drifting slowly across its surface. Each current moves like a thought that never reached words. You approach slowly. The air here feels charged, like the moment just before you wake from a dream and forget everything. Tall trees circle the pool like silent sentinels. Their roots reach into the water, pulsing faintly with light, and their branches lean forward, almost touching, as if listening. You kneel at the edge. The surface doesn't reflect your face. Instead, it shifts and shows you a flicker, a memory. You're not sure if it's yours. It could be from a different life, a different dream, or perhaps a version of you that never came to be. A hand reaching toward another, a doorway left open beneath a starless sky, a child laughing in slow motion, the sound muffled like underwater music. The pool is alive with memory, but not just personal memory, collective memory, the echo of all who've ever passed this way in the astral. You reach out with your astral fingers. The water rises to meet you, like a soft, conscious mist. It doesn't feel wet. It feels like emotion made tangible. As your fingertips make contact, the surface ripples outward. Each ripple carries a tone, soft chimes, low hums, overlapping melodies that rise and fall like breath. You close your eyes and listen. One note opens a door to a moment you buried long ago. Another stirs an image you thought belonged to someone else. But here, in this space, everything is connected. Everything is you. The pool glows brighter for a moment, and within it, colors swirl in gentle spirals, crimson and pearl, emerald and smoke. And in the center of that spiral, a single spark of white light pulses gently. You know it without knowing how. This is the core of the memory, the heart of something left unspoken, and it is offering itself to you. You breathe in, slowly, letting the sensation move through your astral body. It doesn't overwhelm, it grounds you, reminds you that even in sleep, especially in sleep, we are never truly lost. Your hand withdraws, and the pool becomes still once more. No goodbye, only stillness, only trust. Behind you, the trees sway again, and ahead, the path glows softly, inviting you forward. The memory has spoken, and you have listened. Now, it is time to move on. Listening to the forest's breath, you leave the pool of memories in silence, but something follows you. Not a presence, not a shadow, but a rhythm. Soft, slow, ancient. As you walk, the forest begins to change again. The trees grow taller, their trunks thicker, covered in thin layers of mossy crystal, a shimmering green, like emerald mist caught in frozen rain. The light shifts too. It dims slightly, not with darkness, but with depth, as if the forest is inviting you inward, into its lungs, into its breath. The air here feels different, cool, smooth, with a faint pulse moving through it, like waves of invisible wind curling through unseen pathways. You stop and listen. At first, there is only stillness, but as your thoughts quiet, you begin to hear it, a soft inhaling, a long, slow exhale, not from your body, but from the world around you. The forest is breathing. The trees expand slightly with each breath. Their trunks shimmer with faint blue pulses. Tiny particles of light drift down from the canopy, like glowing dust set loose by the forest's sigh. You take a breath, and for a moment, you find yourself perfectly in sync. Inhale, the trees lift slightly. Exhale, the roots seem to stretch deeper. You feel it in your chest, not as pressure, but as release. Your astral form begins to settle into the rhythm, as if your entire being is being tuned, like a stringed instrument, to match this deeper, living harmony. You sit on the soft ground. The surface beneath you is cool and smooth, a blend of earth and crystal. Its texture hums faintly beneath your skin, not a sound, but a subtle vibration. You place your hands palm down and close your eyes, and now the breath becomes louder, still gentle, still slow, but unmistakable. It flows beneath you, around you, through you, and with it, images begin to rise in your mind. Not memories, but feelings, visions of a world breathing in harmony, of light rising through roots, spiraling into leaves, of dreams growing like flowers, blooming with every exhale. The breath holds you, not tightly, but tenderly, like a lullaby that never ends. Somewhere deeper in the forest, you hear a distant tone, a sound like a low flute made of wind and longing. It calls softly, not as a demand, but as a suggestion. Come deeper. You open your eyes, and the path ahead glows again, only faintly, but enough to follow. You rise, no longer walking against the world, but with it, you match your breath to the forest's step by step. Inhale, the world expands. Exhale, it guides you forward. This is no longer just a journey. It is a conversation between you and the dreaming forest. And the deeper you listen, the more it begins to trust you. You rise from where you sat, the breath of the forest still moving gently within your chest. Not as a memory now, but as a rhythm you have become part of. The path ahead is quiet, so quiet in fact, that you almost hesitate to step forward, as if breaking the silence would break the spell. But then, you see them, tiny pinpricks of light, rising from the moss-covered floor, not all at once, but in waves, like fireflies awakening to an unseen signal. They drift slowly into the air. No wings, no sound, just glowing motion. Soft gold, pale blue, occasional bursts of lavender and rose. Their light is not bright, but it is warm and oddly familiar. You step closer, and one of them floats near your face. It hovers for a moment, then circles you slowly, leaving behind a gentle trail of shimmering particles in the air. You lift your hand, palm open, and another light descends toward it. It doesn't land, but rests just above your skin, and in that small space between, you feel something stir. A memory, a word left unspoken? No, a direction. You understand it without understanding how. These lights, they want you to follow. They do not force. They do not lead in a straight line. They dance, they swirl, and somehow, you know which ones to walk with. You take your first step, and a few of them begin to float ahead, lighting a slow, spiraling trail into the deeper forest. With every step you take, more lights join the path. They rise from hollow tree trunks, from beneath curling crystal leaves, even from within still puddles that mirror the stars. You are no longer walking a path. You are walking within a current of living starlight. Above you, the forest canopy shifts, letting in a sky that wasn't visible before. It's not the night sky, you know. There are stars, yes, but they move, slowly rotating, changing shape, forming spirals and sacred symbols that glow and fade like breath. The floating lights around you begin to rise higher, forming arches above the path. Like glowing vines woven through the air, you pass beneath them and feel a gentle warmth drip down your spine. Not liquid, but energy. Not heat, but memory. At one point, you come to a small clearing, and the lights pause. They float in slow circles around you, and you feel something begin to gather above. You look up, and from the canopy, a single light descends, larger than the others, brighter, but still soft. It moves with intention, not like the playful lights from before, but like a guardian or a guide. It floats just before you, then pulses once, twice, and from within it you hear a sound, a single tone, clear, low, pure. The tone hums through your chest, and something inside you shifts. It's not a command. It's an invitation to go deeper still. The larger light turns and begins to move again, slowly, leading you forward. The others follow behind it, a trail of stars in motion, and you somewhere in between. You are not walking alone. You are part of a constellation now, a moving prayer, a drifting answer, a sleeping question, and just ahead, beyond a gentle curve in the glowing path, you see something begin to shimmer, a bridge made of light and silence and echoes. But that awaits you in the next breath of the dream. The floating lights slow their dance. Their path narrows, and just beyond the trees, you see it begin to take shape, a bridge, but not made of stone, nor wood, not even crystal. It appears to be woven from pure light, but this light is cold, still, silent. The entire structure pulses in soft tones of silver and pale blue, as if frozen moonlight had been stretched across time. It spans across a wide chasm. You can't see the bottom, only a dark mist that shifts slowly beneath it, like sleeping thoughts. You step closer, and the floating lights pause behind you. They do not follow. Not here. This part of the journey is yours alone. The first step onto the bridge feels unlike any step you've taken before. The surface is smooth, yet textured. It feels like touching glass that holds sound trapped within. And as your foot meets it, you hear it, not from around you, but from within the bridge itself. A whisper. No, not a whisper. A memory. But not just yours. It echoes like voices in a cathedral built from dreams. Soft words, laughter, tears that never reach the surface, thoughts never spoken aloud. You take another step, and again, a sound rises, not the same as before, this one familiar. A name, a place, a single phrase you once said in sleep or wished you had. The bridge remembers. Each step across it releases another echo, frozen in time, now melting into the astral air. The air grows colder, not uncomfortably so, but enough that your breath becomes visible. Or perhaps it's not breath, but thoughts leaving your body in waves, You pause at the center of the bridge. The mist beneath you curls upward, dancing around your ankles like threads of unfinished dreams. You look out across the abyss. There is no wind, no stars above, only stillness and sound. Sound trapped in silence, waiting to be heard. And you realize this bridge is not just a path forward. It is a mirror, a space between where you've been and what you're becoming. You kneel down, place both hands on the cold surface, and listen. At first, there is nothing. Then, slow, layered, like a song unraveling in reverse. You hear it, a lullaby, not from this life, but one your soul has carried through lifetimes. A voice, your own, whispering something you never had the courage to say. It plays around you in spirals of sound and light until all at once it stops. Silence returns, but not empty silence. Sacred silence, the kind that comes after revelation, not with words, but with knowing. You rise, and the path ahead gleams. But now the bridge beneath your feet no longer echoes. It has shared what it held, and now it is quiet once more. You take the final steps across. The mist parts, the cold fades, and the light around you warms again. Behind you, the bridge begins to fade, not vanish, but dissolve, as if it was never really there to begin with. Only a space, a pause, a memory made solid, and ahead, a new forest opens, different, brighter, alive with reflection. You take one breath, then another, and step into the next phase of the dream. You step beyond the bridge. The air shifts again, not with temperature, but with presence. Everything here is still, but it's not the emptiness of a paused world. It's the fullness of something watching. The forest opens wide, no underbrush, no paths, just a smooth clearing bathed in pale light. It doesn't come from above, but from the trees themselves. Their bark shimmers in waves of quiet silver. Their roots pulse faintly, like the breath of deep earth. And then you feel it before you see it, a pressure, gentle, like a hand resting just above your heart. A sense that you are not alone. You look to the center of the clearing, and there it is, still as stone, tall, robed in layers of dust-colored mist, its face hidden behind a smooth oval mask of lightless glass. It does not move, it does not speak, but its gaze, though invisible, lands on you like weightless snowfall. This is the Watcher of Silence, a keeper of stillness, a guardian between echoes and voices, a presence so ancient it no longer needs time, so deep it no longer needs form. You do not approach, you simply wait, and in that waiting, you are seen. The Watcher doesn't measure you, it doesn't ask, it simply knows. And in that knowing, you feel something soften inside you. A wall, a doubt, a question you've carried without asking. The mask glows slightly, and for a moment, you see reflections ripple across its surface. Not images, but feelings, shame you never voiced, pride you forgot to feel, moments when silence could have saved you. The Watcher doesn't react. It only reflects, and then the clearing around you pulses once, a single wave of silence, moving through the trees. Like a drum made of light, you close your eyes and listen, not for sound, but for understanding. And in that quiet, you hear it, your own breath, perfectly still, aligned with something greater, a rhythm not just yours, but shared, old, sacred. When you open your eyes, the watcher is still there, but something is different. It is no longer holding you. It is releasing you, not because you've finished, but because you are ready. No words, no gesture, only knowing. You bow your head, not out of obedience, but gratitude, and as you lift it again, the watcher is gone. Only a soft light remains in the center of the clearing, and from its heart, a path begins to grow. Thin threads of crystal weaving into direction, leading into the trees once more. But this time, you feel lighter, not because you've left something behind, but because you've remembered what you were carrying. And now, you walk with it, not against it. The trees grow denser once more, but the path between them remains open, not carved by feet, but shaped by thought. The crystal threads beneath your steps stretch forward, interweaving like a soft spiral, guiding you gently into a space that feels quieter than silence. Ahead, the forest gives way to something vast. You don't see it at first. You feel it, a presence, still, steady, weightless and heavy all at once. As you step through a narrow arch of bending branches, you enter it, the hall of reflection. It's not a building. There are no walls, no doors, yet the space feels enclosed, sacred. The trees here are no longer trees. They rise like columns, tall, thin, flawless, their trunks polished smooth, glowing softly from within, and on every surface, reflections, but not simple mirrors, not cold and flat. These surfaces shimmer like liquid glass, and when you catch your own reflection, it doesn't stare back, it waits. You take a step forward, and one of the columns pulses gently. The surface bends, shifts, reveals, not your face, but a moment, a childhood memory, not fully yours, perhaps a dream once forgotten, now half remembered, a time when you stood alone, unsure, a time you smiled but carried something silent inside. The image fades, another replaces it, a room, dimly lit, a voice saying your name in a way you never heard before, soft, loving, aching. Each reflection is like water. It doesn't just show, it speaks, not in sound, but in sensation. You move slowly between the pillars, and with each step, another memory emerges, or a version of you that never chose the path you're on. One column shows your hands, but they're older, stronger, holding something made of light, a gift, a goodbye. Another shows a pair of eyes, not yours, but familiar, watching you as you slept once, long ago. In a room filled with rain, you pause in the center of the hall, a wide space with no visible floor, only a mirrored pool beneath you, yet you do not fall. You float. The surface shows nothing at first, then it begins to ripple, and this time you see yourself, not the you from now, not from this sleep, but the you that hides behind every breath you take in the waking world. The part of you that never speaks out loud, the part that wonders, the part that remembers pain like music and joy like fog. You watch, and you're not afraid, because here in this astral place, nothing judges, everything reflects, and the act of looking is the healing itself. Time does not move here, but but you do, gently, like a current of awareness. You touch one of the columns, and instead of vision, it gives you warmth, a feeling of being held, not by arms, but by understanding. You don't need to stay, but you are not rushed to leave. Eventually, the mirrored pool beneath you begins to shimmer, its center parting slowly, not like water, but like fabric drawn open by invisible hands. A passage appears, not a tunnel, but a soft corridor of shadow and crystal. It waits for you, not because it must, but because you are ready. You bow your head one last time to the hall, not in submission, but in respect. Then step forward, toward the next turn in the journey, and as you leave, the reflections fade, not because they are gone, but because they are now carried within you. The corridor opens before you like a ribbon of twilight, winding softly between trees that have grown impossibly close together. Their trunks twist upward like strands of braided silence, and overhead the branches curve inward, forming a ceiling of deep indigo and soft gold, streaked with floating strands of sound. Yes, you hear it, even before you see it. Music, but not with instruments, and not from voices. The air itself hums, low, warm, almost shy. You take your first step into the corridor, and the sound sharpens ever so slightly. Still gentle, still hesitant, like a song trying to remember itself. You walk slowly. Each step feels as though it presses softly against the air, causing faint tones to ripple outward, sometimes a single note, sometimes a distant harmony. The trees begin to shimmer. Faint lines of golden light curl up their trunks, spiraling slowly, and you notice they are vibrating, not with motion, but with memory. You stop beside one of them and place your hand gently near its bark. There is no texture, only resonance, and from that point of contact, a melody begins. It doesn't rise from the tree. It rises from within you, a tune long buried, perhaps once hummed beneath your breath as a child, perhaps never sung aloud at all. It's not a full song, just fragments, half notes and shadowy rhythms, the kind of music you dream about and forget upon waking. You continue walking, and the corridor begins to narrow. The melodies layer over one another, echoes in different keys, some bright like starlight skipping on water, others deep and solemn, like memories held tightly for too long. At times you pause, not to rest, but to listen, and when you do, you hear voices, not words, just tones. One carries joy, another longing, another still. Sorrow that feels ancient yet tender. These are not other people's songs. They are yours, left behind, forgotten, but never truly gone. They drift through the corridor like mist, settling in the spaces between breath and thought. You notice now that the path beneath you is subtly shifting in color. With each tone, the surface changes hue. A note of wonder paints the stones lavender. A soft regret turns them to deep emerald. And laughter, remembered or imagined, bursts across the ground in gold and rose. You are not just moving through this corridor. You are composing it with your breath, with your feeling, with everything you never said out loud. At one point, the music grows quieter, not fading, but deepening. The trees part slightly, and at the center of the path, a stone seat appears, formed not by hands, but by song. You sit, and for a moment, everything is still. Then the air around you hums. A chorus rises softly, dissonant at first, then slowly falling into place. It surrounds you, not as noise, but as memory in motion. You close your eyes, and for the briefest moment, you are the music, not the listener, but the instrument. And in that moment, you understand something deeper than language, that every emotion you've carried, every silence you've held, has a sound. And here, it is allowed to sing. The music fades, the corridor opens once more, and the path forward calls gently, no longer in silence, but in harmony. You rise and step forward once again, carrying a song with you that no one else will ever hear, but you will never forget. The corridor behind you narrows into a sliver of soft shadow, and ahead the air opens like a long-held breath, finally released. You step into a clearing, but this is not an ordinary space. It feels tender, alive, but in stillness. Welcome to the garden of gentle crystals. The very air hums with calm, a vibration so subtle it feels more like a thought than a sound. And the ground beneath your astral feet glows softly, not from any source, but as if the earth itself is dreaming. The garden stretches out in every direction. Low hills covered in glimmering moss, crystal formations blooming like flowers, some tall and slender, like frozen flames, others curled gently like petals wrapped around light. Each crystal breathes in its own rhythm, pulsing with faint color, warm pinks, muted greens, pale gold, dusky violet, the palette of peace. As you walk, the crystals near your path lean slightly toward you, not physically, but energetically, as if acknowledging your presence. Welcoming your light, you kneel beside one of them, a spiral-shaped crystal, soft blue at its edges, turning silver at the center. It doesn't speak, yet somehow it offers comfort. You reach out your astral hand, and just as your fingers hover above its surface, a soft note rings out, a pure bell-like tone, not loud, not sharp, just present. You pause and breathe in. The air carries a faint scent, something like early morning rain mixed with lavender, and something older, not from earth, but from memory. You rise again and walk deeper into the garden. The path is not marked. It is felt, drawn for you by the rhythm of your breath and the crystals that align to guide you. Every few steps, a different crystal hums gently as you pass. Each tone carries an emotion. One brings warmth, another clarity, another something unnameable but familiar, like a hug you never realized you needed. You come to a small pool in the center of the garden. Its water is perfectly still, and within it, a single floating crystal, slowly rotating above the surface, casting soft rays of color outward like whispers. You sit before it, not to study, not to analyze, but simply to be, and in the stillness, something within you begins to soften. Tension you didn't know you were carrying begins to unravel, gently, without effort. You feel it in your chest, a warmth spreading outward, as if this place, this garden, is gently smoothing out every ripple in your spirit. There is no story here, no lesson, no guide, only presence. And in this quiet presence, you remember what it means to simply exist, to be without striving, without speaking, without remembering or forgetting. You remain still for some time, and the garden remains still with you, like an old friend who doesn't need to fill the silence. Eventually, the crystal at the center of the pool glows slightly brighter. Its rays point toward a path of pale stones, laid out not in lines, but in curves that echo the rhythm of your heartbeat. It is time to move on, but not away, because what the garden gave you, you now carry within. You rise, take one last breath of the crystal-scented air, and step forward. The garden fades behind you like a memory made of light, but the peace it gave you lingers with every step you take from this moment on. The pale stones from the crystal garden lead you forward. Their curve is gentle, organic, like they've always known where you need to go. With each step, the light around you shifts. The colors become deeper, shadows stretch longer, but not in fear. In rest, the sounds of the forest grow softer. Crystals no longer hum. The air no longer pulses. Everything begins to slow, and then you see it, the sleeping tree. It rises from the center of a shallow hill, wrapped in silver mist. Its trunk is wide, impossibly wide, ancient and knotted with time. The bark glows faintly, not like crystal, but like skin remembering the warmth of sunlight. Its branches stretch outward like arms in deep slumber, each one draped with long, flowing strands of moss that shimmer like stardust in soft wind. And beneath the tree, the ground glows softly, a circle of earth that hums without sound, that breathes without movement. You approach slowly. Each step feels like a blessing, as if the forest itself is holding its breath, so you may arrive undisturbed. When you reach the base of the tree, something inside you shifts, not a sudden change, but a settling, like a thought finding its place. After being lost for too long, you sit beneath the great trunk, and the moment you do, a warmth rises beneath you, not from the soil, but from the tree itself. You place your hand gently on its bark. It's warm, textured, and in your palm you feel a slow pulse, not a heartbeat, but something older, slower, the rhythm of earth dreaming. You close your eyes, and the tree begins to speak, not in words, not even in thoughts, but in stillness. It shares with you the story of the forest, not as memory, but as feeling. You see a vision, the forest being born from a single breath of starlight, the first roots pushing into the fabric of dream, the first leaves opening into sleep. And in that vision, you see yourself, not as you are, but as something softer, more fluid, less defined. You are part of this forest. You always have been. You only forgot, and the sleeping tree has waited for you to remember. A breeze drifts through its branches, and as it passes over you, you feel a release, a sigh you've been holding in your spirit. A tension you didn't know still lingered, gone. The moss sways gently, and from somewhere high above, a soft dust falls down like silent snowflakes. They touch your astral skin, and with each one, you feel lighter, not like you're floating, but like you're finally grounded, in peace. Time loses shape here. Minutes stretch into eternity. Seconds dissolve into breath. You do not sleep, and yet you rest. You do not move, and yet you become. The tree wraps you in its dream, and in that dream, there is no past, no future, only presence, only now, You don't know how long you stay, because here there is no leaving, only continuing. Eventually, the light around you begins to shift again. The mist thins, the hum of distant paths returns, and gently you rise. The tree remains still, but you know it's aware. You bow your head, not in goodbye, but in recognition. And as you step away, you carry its dream with you, silently, gently, endlessly. The path beyond the sleeping tree opens slowly, like a curtain of mist being drawn back by invisible hands. And beyond it, the forest thins, the air lightens, the sky, once hidden by branches, now stretches wide above you. You've reached a high ridge, a quiet plateau where the world seems to pause. There is wind here, soft, cool, and full of whispers, not in language, but in music. You look up, and there, drifting gently across the vast astral sky, are the dream birds. They don't flap their wings, they glide, as if thought itself carries them. Some are shaped like birds you've seen before, others, not quite. One has wings that ripple like silk underwater, another moves more like a shadow than a shape. They're not made of feathers, but of memory and light and silence. You sit near the edge of the ridge and simply watch. The sky is a deep violet, flecked with soft gold and streaks of pale blue. Stars pulse slowly behind moving clouds of light, and through this space the dream birds fly, not randomly, but in slow spiraling patterns, like calligraphy written across the sky. You begin to notice something strange. As each bird passes overhead, a feeling rises within you. The first, a small, glowing creature with flickering wings, brings with it a sense of calm, a time you once felt truly at peace, not the memory itself, but the feeling. The next, long, slender, with wings of gold, stirs something deeper, a dream you never pursued, a path you once considered and let go. And yet another, dark with streaks of silver, brings tears to your eyes, not of sorrow, but release. Each bird carries something, not for you, but of you. They do not come to deliver messages, they come to remind. You close your eyes, and for a moment you feel yourself lift, not from the ground, but from within, as if your astral self is being lifted gently, carried not by wings, but by recognition. You remember a time you stood in silence with someone you loved. You remember a moment when you let go of something that no longer served you. You remember, and when you open your eyes again, one of the dream birds is hovering just above you. Its wings do not move. It simply stays, suspended in thought. You meet its gaze, though it has no eyes, only light. And in that moment, you understand something. This bird is not visiting you. It is returning to you. It was once a part of you that drifted away, and now, here in the astral, it has found its way back. You reach out, and though you do not touch it, you feel it settle into your chest, like warmth returning to forgotten corners of the soul. The bird dissolves into light, and you remain still. The sky above you continues to dance with spirals of drifting wings, but you do not chase them. You watch and listen and breathe. Somewhere in the distance, a soft chime rings, calling you forward once more. The dream birds fade into the sky, but one remains with you now, always. The ridge slopes downward. Soft moss cushions each of your steps as the air begins to cool once more, not in chill, but in clarity, as if the world is preparing to reveal something. A soft mist curls around your ankles, thin silver tendrils swirling gently across the ground, and ahead, a shimmer, wide, still, timeless. You step through the mist and find yourself at the edge of a lake, but it does not ripple, it does not move, it does not reflect the sky, it reflects you, not your face, not your clothes, not your body lying in sleep, but you, the essence that exists beyond definition. The mirror lake stretches out like a frozen sheet of liquid memory, glass-like, but warm, lit from beneath by soft shifting tones of moonlit lavender and soft gray blue. You kneel at its edge. The surface is perfectly still, but the moment your astral hand hovers above it, it begins to shimmer, and in it you begin to see not your current form, but versions of you. One smiles back at you, younger, braver, eyes full of wonder. Another, wiser, still, carrying years of silence with grace. Another still, unfamiliar, but somehow deeply you, the version of you that followed every dream you once let go. You do not choose between them, you simply witness. The lake does not ask you to become, it only asks you to acknowledge. You lean forward slightly, and the surface shifts once more. Now it shows not who you are, but what you carry, a memory, a fear, a kindness you forgot to give yourself. You feel no shame, no regret, only recognition. This is you, in all your forms, in all your phases, and here in this astral space, all of them are welcome. You reach forward, not to touch, but to offer, and as your fingers hover just above the surface, the lake accepts your breath, your thought, your intention. It does not ripple, it receives, and in return, it begins to glow. A soft light rises from the center of the lake, not harsh, but radiant. It pulses slowly, and with each pulse, a memory returns to you, not with pain, but with peace. The lake has given something back, not an answer, but a calm. You sit at the edge for a while longer, watching the shifting light, feeling it mirror not your image, but your stillness. Eventually, the mist begins to drift again. The glow softens, and a soft path of light forms across the lake's edge, leading you onward. You rise. The water remains still, but you are different now, more seen, more whole. You do not look back, because everything that was behind you now lives within. You step away from the lake. The path is softer now, less defined, more intuitive, like your spirit already knows where to go before your feet do. The air shifts, cooler, quieter. A subtle scent reaches you, clean, familiar, like the smell of the earth just before rain, but sweeter, and laced with something you can't quite name. You pause and look up. The sky above you, that astral canvas of deep violet and drifting light, begins to shimmer, not with thunder, not with clouds, but with movement. And then it begins. A rain, light as breath, fine droplets falling from a sky that holds no storm. Each drop glows faintly, some silver, some pale gold, some so transparent. They feel like thoughts made physical. You step forward into it, and the rain meets you gently, not soaking, not chilling, but resting on your astral form like tiny hands saying, I remember. Every droplet carries something. One lands on your shoulder, and you recall a moment of silence you once shared with someone who truly saw you. Another touches your palm, and you feel the echo of a childhood day, long forgotten, filled with simple joy. A third rests on your brow, and with it comes a sensation of release, of a burden that was never truly yours. The rain does not rush. It falls slowly, patiently, like it's waiting for you to catch each memory as it arrives. You continue walking, and the forest around you begins to shimmer. Leaves sparkle softly as droplets cling to them, like dew spun from dreams. The ground glows faintly with every step you take, as if the rain awakens the earth itself. You lift your hands to the sky and simply receive. It doesn't feel like cleansing. It feels like remembering, reconnecting, coming home. One drop lands near your heart, and for a moment you feel something stir deep inside. A whisper, a presence, not from outside, but from you. You realize then that this rain has always fallen in your astral space, even when you didn't notice it, even when you were too far from yourself to feel it. It was always there, waiting for you to walk into it. You smile, softly, not for anyone else, just for you. The rain continues steady and gentle, and you let it fall. Let it carry away the dust of forgotten dreams. Let it awaken the soil of new ones. Somewhere ahead, the sky begins to clear. The light grows warmer, and a soft mist rises where the raindrops meet the glowing path. You take one last breath of the rain and walk through it, not away from it, but with it, because now it lives in you. The rain has stopped, but its memory lingers on your skin, in the glimmering droplets that still cling to your arms. In the quiet hum left behind in the air, the path opens once more, wider now, and softer, not because the terrain has changed, but because you have. You walk slowly, each step not as a search, but as a sigh, the kind of movement that says, I've seen enough for now, let me breathe. And then you see it, a single smooth stone nestled in the center of a wide open space, bathed in moonlight, silent, unmoving, timeless. The moonlit rock, it glows faintly with silver blue light, as if it has absorbed every dream that has ever touched it. It doesn't call to you, but it waits. You approach with reverence, and without a word, you sit. The surface is cool at first, but as you settle, it warms, not with heat, but with recognition, like the rock remembers you from another journey, another lifetime, or perhaps just another version of tonight. You close your eyes. Above you, the sky pulses gently with stars, not twinkling, but breathing. Their light expands and softens in perfect rhythm with your chest. The ground beneath you is utterly still, and for the first time since the beginning of your astral journey, you do not wish to move. You simply exist. Thoughts drift across your mind like clouds, but you do not chase them. You do not push them away. You let them pass. You feel the damp air brushing your face, the whisper of moss shifting slightly beneath your feet, the sound of your own breath echoing softly between heartbeats. Time dissolves. You begin to sense something else in the rock, not a presence, not a voice, but a deep knowing, as if this stone was placed here not to hold you, but to remind you that rest is not weakness. It is integration, You do not have to understand everything you've seen. You do not have to name every feeling. You do not have to be more than what you are in this moment. And what you are is enough. Minutes, hours, dreams, they blur here beneath the silver moon that never moves, and yet always watches. You open your eyes. The light has changed, softer now, more internal, as if your own soul has become the moonlight and the rock, your anchor. You rise slowly, no rush, no tension. You place your hand on the stone one last time, and in return, it hums, a sound so faint you're not sure it came from outside you at all. And then you continue on, but not because the path calls you, because you are ready. You step away from the moonlit rock, but part of you remains there, not in body, but in rhythm, in breath. The path ahead is quiet, yet the air is different, alive, not with sound, but with presence. The trees sway, though there is no wind. The leaves flutter, though nothing touches them. And then you feel it, a breeze, gentle, cool, not on your skin, but through your spirit. It doesn't push you, it moves through you. The wind has arrived, but it does not come empty. It carries messages, not in words, but in memory. A gust brushes past your shoulder, and suddenly you remember a moment. Someone once called your name with kindness, and you hadn't realized how much you needed to hear it. Another breeze curls near your heart, and with it, an image returns. A place you once loved, long forgotten, but never fully lost. The wind does not speak, but it reminds you stop walking, letting the breeze swirl around you. It feels like silk, or a sigh, or the whisper of someone you miss but don't remember. You breathe in, and the wind moves deeper. Now it carries something more, a voice, not from the world, but from within, a voice you once silenced, now rising like smoke from long dormant embers. It says nothing specific, but its presence says everything. You are here. You are whole. You are still listening. The trees bend slightly in response, and the leaves begin to rustle in patterns, soft clicks, distant chimes, almost like language, but older. You close your eyes, and in that stillness, the messages become clearer. Not in sentences, but in sensations. One breeze wraps around your hands. You can let go. Another curls around your chest. You are allowed to rest. And a third dances along your spine. You are not lost. You are simply becoming. Tears gather softly in your astral form, not from sadness, but from resonance, because none of this is new. You've always known these things. You just needed the wind to help you remember. The air calms, the whispers fade, but the knowing remains inside you, carved into silence, etched into breath. You begin to walk again, slower, more open, not seeking direction, but honoring presence. And in the distance, a soft veil of golden mist begins to rise, gently parting as your next path emerges, not from the forest, but from you. The golden mist ahead parts like a curtain drawn open by the breath of the world, and there, beneath it, the path reveals itself. But this is not like the other trails you've followed. It is made entirely of crystal, soft, rounded stones, some clear as water, others tinged with colors so subtle they seem to shift with each breath you take. You step forward, and as your astral foot touches the first crystal, it glows, not from within, but from you. Your presence awakens the path. Each step you take releases a soft pulse of light. Lavender, rose gold, moonlit teal. They bloom beneath your feet, like ripples of your own spirit moving outward. The air is still, but not empty. It carries weight, a peaceful weight, like the feeling of knowing you are exactly where you need to be. You continue walking, and the path begins to respond more clearly, not just in light, but in sound. With each step, a soft chime echoes outward, delicate, crystalline, as if your movement is creating music, a lullaby for your own return. The crystals curve gently, leading you through a tunnel of tall grass and low trees. Everything here glows faintly, but the light feels familiar, not from stars, not from moons, but from something deeper. It is your light. You stop for a moment, look down at the glowing path beneath your feet, and realize something. These crystals are not just stones. They are mirrors, reflecting every soft truth you've accepted on this journey, every burden you've released, every emotion you've allowed to surface. Each stone remembers and carries it gently, not as weight, but as beauty. As you walk further, the colors begin to change, not randomly, but with meaning. The soft blue of forgiveness, the pink of returned self-love, the amber of long-awaited peace. They glow with every step you take, not as reminders of what you lack, but as evidence of what you've reclaimed. A gentle wind brushes past you. The crystals sing in response. A soft harmony, not loud, not complex, but true. You close your eyes for a moment and walk by sense, letting your body move freely, letting your spirit breathe. And when you open your eyes again, the path rises slightly, not into a hill, but into clarity. You're nearing a threshold. The light becomes warmer, more golden. The crystals grow larger, smoother, more radiant, and ahead you see the veil forming once again, not as something to fear, but as something you now recognize. The veil of return, the space between here and sleep, between dream and waking. But before you reach it, the path beneath your feet glows one last time, and this time the light rises with you, into you. You are no longer walking on the crystals. You are the crystal path, the light, the sound, the breath of this space. You pause just before the veil and breathe in what you were, what you are, and what you are becoming. All walk with you now. The light from the crystal path fades slowly behind you, not vanishing, but dimming, like a candle that no longer needs to burn, because the warmth remains within. Ahead, the veil ripples like soft fabric, swaying in a breathless breeze. It doesn't block your way. It simply marks a shift, not an ending, but a return. You pause, let your hands fall softly at your sides, and take a breath. Everything you've seen, everything you felt, it settles inside you like mist, drifting down into a quiet lake. The forest behind you doesn't close. It waits, silent and infinite, ready for the next time, the next dream, the next question you carry with you. You look around once more. The colors of the astral realm feel different now. Not brighter, not darker, just slower. Time stretches, not outward, but inward, giving you one last chance to feel instead of move. The breeze you once followed is now still. The light you once chased now glows from your chest. There is nothing more to seek, because now you remember what was never really gone. You sit for a moment at the foot of the veil, letting your astral breath become longer, softer. You place your hand over your heart, not to feel a beat, but to remind yourself you are here, even when you are there. The ground hums faintly beneath you. The forest exhales one final time, and in that breath, you feel a voice, or a thought, or perhaps just a knowing. What you carry forward is not what you've seen, but who you became in the seeing. You rise slowly. Your astral form begins to lighten, edges softening, like starlight dissolving back into the sky. The veil pulses once, a gentle wave of welcome, and you take a step forward, not with effort, but with release. Each part of your journey lingers behind you, not lost, but etched in light, in rhythm, in memory. You do not say goodbye, because there is nothing to leave behind. You are taking it all with you, in your breath, in your spirit, in your sleep, and beyond. You stand before the veil. It ripples gently in the air, not blocking your way, but waiting, like a page in a dream not yet turned, a breath not yet taken. Its surface is not fabric, not light, but something softer than either, a shimmer of memory, a layer of mist between knowing and forgetting, between presence and surrender. You reach your hand toward it. It does not resist. It moves with you, like mist parting around a whisper. The moment your fingers touch its surface, you feel something shift, not in the world, but in you. The noise of the outer dream fades. The colors soften, and your astral form begins to blend with the silence. You take a step, and it feels like falling into stillness, but not a loss, not an ending. Emerging, you pass through the veil as easily as light through smoke, and as you do, the air around you changes, warmer, heavier, familiar. The dream begins to dissolve, not vanish. Just settle into your breath, your pulse, your sleep. You feel the softness of your own body again, somewhere distant, somewhere real. And yet, you're not rushing to return, because now you know the way. You pause in the in-between, a space without shape, without time. And here, you hear one final whisper, not from the veil, not from the forest, but from yourself. You are whole. You are safe. You are still dreaming. Your astral light wraps around you like a soft blanket, and the last threads of the dream tuck themselves gently into your mind, not to disappear, but to rest, so they can find you again. Next time, the veil behind you still ripples, still welcomes, and you begin to float, not upward, not away, but inward, toward the deep sleep that holds all journeys, all dreams, all stars. And now you rest, fully, peacefully, completely. You've crossed the veil, and everything now is softer. There are no more paths, no more forests, no more questions, only quiet, only breath. The world around you is still, but not empty. It holds you like warm arms, like a lullaby remembered from before you were born. You float gently, not rising, not falling, just drifting, like a leaf on a silent current, like a thought no longer trying to become a word. Your body, far away now, lies heavy and warm beneath the blankets, perfectly still, perfectly safe. And your mind, that once wandered through light and shadow, now melts into rhythm, into calm. The stars that once called to you now hum softly behind closed eyes, not asking, not guiding, just glowing. Your breath deepens, Each inhale slower than the last, each exhale longer, more distant, and with every breath, you let go of names, of places, of thought. You are no longer the dreamer watching the world. You are the dream itself, spreading like dusk through the folds of sleep. Memories drift like fog. Emotions dissolve like light through water. Even the silence begins to fade into something deeper. You may feel a faint pulse in your chest, the rhythm of life still there, still holding you, but softer now, almost invisible, because you are not here, not there, not anywhere. You are simply sleeping, drifting, unfolding like night into morning. You may hear echoes of voices from your dream, of footsteps on crystal paths, of winds that whispered truths you almost understood. But they're no longer stories. They're just peace. And peace does not speak. It only surrounds. Let go now, not with effort, but with trust. You've seen enough. You've felt enough. You've come far. And now you rest. Your spirit curls gently into itself, wrapped in silver light, rocked by the deep hush of the cosmos, cradled by sleep. No more need for sound, or image, or self. Only softness, only stillness, only dream.